Hey guys, Sunil Sebastian of Sebastian Fitness Solutions, and in today's video I wanted to bring something to your attention and really highlight an issue that I think is very important to be brought forward, and it really shows paints an ugly picture of the fitness community and really what's really going on within it and the kind of attitude and the kind of mentality that lies within it. As much as I like my channel and the content on it to be focused on information and informative topics, and that's it, sometimes things like these come about, and throughout the journey that I've had in this industry and this whole community, and I think it's very important. Initially, I've ignored so many instances like this and let them pass, but then now more and more I realize that these issues also need to be brought out to people, because it serves as a lesson, and it serves as an example for us to really see what can actually happen, what can actually dilute information, and what can get in the way of learning and correct thinking. And that is why I have decided to put forth this video. So as many of you all may know, that I put out a video last week titled Why You Should Stop Doing Leg Extensions. And in that video I discussed a few points explaining why the exercise has some inherent risks within it that can cause damage to your knee joint and the support structures around it. And in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't make much sense to incorporate this exercise when considering the risks, when you've got other options available that do just as good a job, if not better, and at the same time do so at much less risk. So that was my video. That was what the video was about basically, and as expected, there was some negative feedback to it, which is I expect now on, because every time you discuss exercise negatively, there are going to be some people who are fans of that exercise or whatever you may call it, and they will not take any negative points against. They won't even listen to what you have to say before making a judgment that whether you're right or wrong, and disliking it. But nevertheless, that's fine. Not much can be said about it. Now, along with this, another thing that came about, and many of you all may know this, and that is Lyle McDonald called me out because of my video and said quite a few things to me in response to that. And many of you all, I've seen many people saying that there was an active debate taking place between Lyle and me on the video, but I don't know how you can call it a debate when it goes something like this. Person A: you're a retard, leg extensions are completely fine, and if a 30-minute video of you saying no, it doesn't make whatever, so and so. Person B: well, will you address the points in the video? Some of the things that you've mentioned are already covered in the video, and what do you mean by doing it the right way, and how can this automatically, get rid of all the issues that I mentioned? Person A: fuck you. So essentially, that's pretty much what the so-called discussion went about, and I don't know how anybody can call that a debate, but nevertheless, the point being that throughout this whole episode, the whole discussion, or the whole thing that was put forth by Lyle was more so, there was not really any legitimate point put forth by him with any reasoning backed up. It was all about personal attacks. The only legitimate point that was put forth was by Brad Schoenfeld, and Lyle even shared that same point. So it's from Brad that came, and that point is being discussed at the moment that this video is being recorded. That point is currently being discussed. I don't know by the time this is out whether it's going to be done, the discussion is going to be done or whatever, but whatever the outcome of the discussion, the results will be reflected in the video, depending if there's any new update to be added, right? So point being that from Lyle, there was nothing that came except personal attacks. Now, a key thing to note over here and to point out over here is that there was anybody else, and he is known for this, by the way. He is known for this, and for some weird reason, this is widely accepted and considered fine by even the people who supposedly follow science. The same people who would call out ad hominems and call out personal attacks when it comes from anybody else in the industry, especially those who are known to not speak science and known to contradict the advice of scientific individuals in this industry. Talk about anybody talking about the if it fits your macros crowd or anything of that sort. You have those people saying anything, and they'll be like, see, oh, look at my physique, or look at what I've accomplished, and boom, ad hominem. Or they say anything about the other person, boom, attack. But here, nothing. With Lyle, everything is excused. Why? Why the double standard, right? But nevertheless, that's what's happened. And if there was anybody, if I did the same, I would be attacked left, right, and center, and it will be pointed out very, very clearly. But in this case, it's excused. So there's a clear double standard there. But that's not the focus of what I'm going to highlight over here. It really doesn't matter to me. Whatever he says doesn't matter to me, because you have some guy who's known to be a madman. And I don't mean, I'm not trying to put him down or anything, but it's known very well. And if you have a dog barking on the side of the street, you don't really pay attention to it. And as long as for me, what matters is the actual arguments put forth, and that's what I focus on. So if there anything that came from that point of view, I would definitely, that's all I showed my interest towards. But any random gibberish being thrown about me, or whatever, this and that, my intentions of creating long videos, because apparently I do long videos to show off, and things like that. So I don't really care about that. He tried his best to instigate me on a public forum as well as privately. He messaged me trying to poke thing and left, right, swearing left, right, and center. But I didn't really respond, and probably that ticked him off even more. But yeah, I don't really care. But one thing that really came about through this entire episode is something that really bothered me, and it's nothing to do with what he said actually, even though it started with what he said, but it shows something else about the industry, the people within it, both the consumers and the other experts, as well as the general attitude that's going about, and that's what I'm going to share right now. So amidst all of this, Lyle posted the same thing in his group on Facebook, a private group on Facebook, where essentially he dictates everything. So if anybody says anything, and by the way, there's like anybody says anything that he doesn't gel well with him, he's out, they're out, right? So he put something there, and he asked me to go ahead and say something, otherwise he'll kick me out of the group. Well, I didn't address his personal tags because they're not worth it, and other points, like I said, were already covered in the video, so I mentioned that. And I said, you know what, I'll save you the trouble, I'll leave myself. And after I was done, it seemed that the entire thread was all about attacking me and saying this and that about me, which I can't, saying something behind somebody's back without them being able to interject and say or clarify anything, it's very easy to do that, right? So that's essentially what happened, and again, it's not something that I care about. However, down that discussion, there was something that came about that really got to me. And I was being given updates by this by people who are friends of mine as well, and who shared what's going on over there with me. And one thing I wanted to highlight, there was one individual over there who I think happens to be of Indian origin, who stood up and said, you know what, all your work aside, I respect that, but the way you're doing things, the way you're talking, it really is unprofessional. He said things like that, and in response, Lyle said this. Now, I'm not sure how well you can see it. The screenshot is going to be in the description as well. I am not going to give this out to you because it's absolutely disgusting, and it's definitely racist, and it's just immature. I don't know what to say about this. Knowing everything that Lyle does and everything that he all that he says, when I saw this, I didn't even expect something like this from him. Considering everything, I still didn't expect he would stoop this low. And it's so obvious and it's in your face. And the funny thing is, in the end, he says, well, this is not racist, by the way, because I am half Iranian. Wow, that's like that's like somebody. Imagine somebody from South America, or saying that saying something against Mexicans, and then saying, you know what, I'm Latino as well, so it's cool, or whatever. Now, as somebody who's from India, and I've faced quite some discrimination and quite some differential treatment from people in this industry, including YouTube. And it has been that way. I'm not going to really go into much detail, neither am I going to actually show those things because they are personal interactions. But this is in your face, it's blatant. You can't ignore something like this. This is right out there. This is a whole another level. It's not even subtle anymore. That's it. And that really, again, it's him saying something, one person saying something, some person who says some random gibberish, shouldn't affect me. It doesn't affect me, shouldn't affect you. Not at all. Okay? If a mad dog is barking on the side of the street, you don't really pay attention to it. You mind your own business and you walk your own way. That's exactly what. But the thing that really got to me, and the thing I'm trying to highlight in this video is this. That if you look at the actual comment, there are likes to it. 8 likes, 9 likes, things like that. And people who actually nod yes to even something like this. Absolute racist remarks, and again, so stupid, shallow, and disgusting that I'm not even going to read it out. It's going to be in the screenshot. And there are people who confirm to it. They say, yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that is what's going on. This absolute nut hugging and yes sir mentality in this industry that will nod yes to anything an expert will say or do, or somebody you trust will say or do, is absolutely disgusting. And it really shows what people think and the way they behave. In the thread also, by the way, there are people who said, I'm glad I never saw this guy's video, I'm glad I never saw who this guy is, and yet they are confirmly sure that what I said is wrong and what he said is right. A clear, example of nut hugging and just yes to somebody who they believe in without any thought of their own. But this is even worse. You're confirming to a racist comment, and you're basically saying that yes, you agree with that, and you would say it as well. And another thing to note in this is that after that comment, not one single person said, that's messed up. or that has absolutely no relevance to the discussion, and you're just attacking somebody personally and attacking racially now as well. Not one person in that thread said it. Everybody was ready to chip in and talk about me, everybody was ready to chip in and talk about all the things here and there, but nobody said anything to this. And that is what I want to highlight and show, that really this is what's going on. When you find somebody, find an expert or find somebody who you look up to and whose advice you look up to, people are just nod yes and say yes and bow down to everything they say and do. And everything they say and do is fair game. They don't think for themselves, it's very apparent. Because you would think that these people who do it themselves, openly make a statement like that on somebody and get away with it? Hell no. If I were to do that to him, you think I would get away with it? No way. Every single person in that thread would have come shout down upon me and said, you know what, that's an attack, that's racist, this and that, whatever. But in this case, no, it's fine. And it's not just the followers or the people who are just enthusiasts that have let this slide. There were also two very respected professionals in this thread who put their points forth. Brad Schoenfeld and Alan Aragon, both people who you guys probably know of and respect, and people that I have looked up to and I have respected as well. And they were in this thread. Brad put forth this comment, like I mentioned, that argument that I discussed before, and Alan also put in a few points, and they were supporting Lyle and Lyle's assertions. But when Lyle made these comments, there was not one response by them. There was nothing from them or the professional in them that said, you know what, that's not right. Maybe let me intervene. Nobody else is saying, let me intervene and say that's not right. That's not the way you conduct an argument. That has no relevance here. That is racist and that is completely unprofessional. That is not the scientific way. Not one comment from either of them either. And I want to put this question to both of them and ask you this. If there was somebody else doing that to you or your colleague, don't you think you would have stepped it up? If I were to say that to Brad, wouldn't Alan come and intervene? I know he would. I've seen Brad stand up for other people, his colleagues, when somebody has made simple ad hominems. And we all do. When you, being scientific people in the community, you may discuss with so many people who make ad hominem attacks. And you defend and you make sure that it's pointed out. Then why not here? Why the double standard? That's my honest question to you. And please, by no means, Brad or Alan, if you're watching this, don't think that this is a way for me to call out and grill you. This is a genuine, honest question that I have to you guys. If this is an attack put forth by somebody, and a personal attack, absolutely no relevance with the topic being discussed, showing sheer lack of professionalism, showing absolute lack of maturity, and just something that's disgusting, why not stand up to it? If you definitely know you would have otherwise. If I were done the same to him, you would not stand up? I know you would. Then why in this case? The double standard here. Why the double standard? This is an honest question again. This is not, so please don't take it as a means for me to attack you, because I know that's what happens. You know, if anything negative is said, boom, that guy is blacklisted. We're not going to interact with him anymore. We're not going to acknowledge him anymore. He's now all that. Please, if that's going to happen despite this, then there's nothing I can say. That's just you being intellectually dishonest and morally dishonest. But this is an honest, genuine question to you, asking why not? Isn't it your responsibility to some degree that if you've contributed to the argument, if you backed him up till now, and you're in that thread, that you at least say something about this, at least show a disapproval? Nothing. And that really goes to show, what's going on in this industry. It's all about, if it's my colleague, if it's somebody I look up to, I think I will say yes to everything. I will nod and say yes. I don't care what the other person has to say. I don't care who he is. I don't care. It doesn't matter. He's wrong. He's right. He's bad. He's good. This is what's happening. And again, one person saying a comment like this, it doesn't bother me, shouldn't bother any Indians or anybody else who's watching. Let it be. It doesn't matter. Forget it. Forget it. But the point is that the other people, the followers, the people who are into this is something that really paints a picture and shows what's going on in the industry. You guys are willing to nut hug and just circle jerk so much that it's like, you're willing to ignore something as clear and blatant as this. It just goes to show how brainwashed you've gotten and how you're not thinking for yourself. And that is all the main focus of me trying to highlight in this video. Think for yourselves, my friends. Whatever point is being put forth, look at the arguments, not the people who are arguing. Just because he's somebody who's written 10 books doesn't mean he has a right to sit and call out people on a personal basis and make personal attacks rather than making actual points. People who have, you go to the comments of the video and they'll still find people with at least, maybe nobody in their lives or nobody in this field. But they put forth genuine questions that is valuable, that matters. And I would any day spend my time addressing it. But this, and there's no excuse for this. No matter what you've accomplished, no matter who you are, no excuse for it. Absolutely none. And the purpose of me showing this in the video is to hopefully ignite, show you, this is really messed up. And no matter what these people say, what ultimately matters is what you think and how it affects you. As long as you can point out what is right and what is wrong, as long as you can point out what is messed up and what is not, and you can think for yourself, irrespective of if you're a favorite expert. I'm nowhere close to popularity among any of these guys, but if I ever do, I urge you to never take my word for the heck of it. Look at the arguments. If they don't make sense, question. Don't just support blindly, especially if by any, forbid that I go down this path and speak in such terms. Never support something like that. The point is what you accept, what you look at, and what you say not yes to really makes a difference. And it shows the perception of this community and how things are taken forth. So I really hope that this as in a highlighted incident for you. I really hope that it shows something to you guys, makes you think, and that's pretty much all I expect from it. I really hope that this video has been insightful and helpful, and nothing much for me to say right now. I will see you in the next video. Peace out.